Now tuning in to Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.
Let's just keep that part. Just a little scream.
Well, I wasn't recording, so you don't got it.
But it's just, I want to think about it. Just our introduction should just be a little moaning Myrtle sounds.
Yeah. Thank you, Eli, for our beautiful, beautiful theme song. We are gonna scrap it in favor of just us collectively screaming for 30 seconds before every episode.
Honestly, I feel like that's pretty much our brand. Our theme song is too cool for what we do here.
This is true. And you know what? I'm overdue for a good just, scream,
I agree.
It's been a while, and things have been bubbling up. So.
Yeah. I definitely need to scream like Zac Efron does in High School Musical.
Yeah.
And also in the Ted Bundy movie.
Yeah. He's got a very... similar, a multi-use scream,
Yes. Yeah, he definitely knows how to do it.
Yes.
And sometimes I think about, if Zac Efron still sings the songs, kind of, hums them subconsciously while he's, getting ready to do stuff. But I definitely have not felt more seen than I did when Zac Efron literally sang the song Scream in High School Musical 3. It's very extra, and I love it a lot.
Great.
Cody, how the hell are you doing?
I'm doing fine, It's a nice little morning pod.
I do love a good morning pod.
It's rare. We usually do, the bowels of the night pod.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're here bright and early.
You know what I do need? It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I addressed this, because it's been a while since a morning pod. But for me, on my end, this podcast is missing some juice.
Oh, God.
I'm just saying. I miss it.
I miss my juice.
Sometimes you just need a good juice, okay?
How about you pull a Janelle Monáe and get the juice?
Thank you. Thank you for that gift that you just gave me.
Thank you, of course.
So just right off the bat, I need to address something very quickly. Because since I found out about it about an hour ago, I have been unable to stop thinking about anything else. And as usual, this happens when I look at the Fickle Fish Films Twitter account. But what has come to my knowledge, I would say, is that this Twitter account, which is mostly run by Stephanie, and then the other person that she has on her team, they are now getting to the point where they are tweeting out YouTube links of people that are reviewing her work.
Oh, no.
So on May 8th, she posted a link to someone's video reviewing The Chemist by Stephanie Meyer. Oh God, I'm throwing things. I'm so upset. I'm just so stressed. And
it's what you make me feel, Stephanie.
And it just got me thinking, does she know? Does she know about us? If she's just searching her name on YouTube, what the fuck does she think is gonna come up?
Oh no. Yeah, we do use it in the metadata of all of our stuff.
Yeah.
It would come up.
It would.
More than certainly.
So here's what I'll say.
Yeah.
Stephanie, I don't regret the things I've said, but I'm willing to have my mind changed. So have your people talk to our people.
Listen, just come on the pod, Steph.
Can you fucking imagine what kind of clickbait that would be?
I would love it.
Or not even that. We just don't put a featuring in the episode title.
It's just a good.
And then we just start the show, and it's just oh, what up, Stephanie?
She's all right, I'll do it on one condition. You can't tell anyone. They have to find it this way.
We just, down pitch her voice.
Right.
And so, they do on the crime shows.
Yeah, it's an anonymous source, yeah.
Yeah. Stephanie, listen, we've already got amazing creative ideas. Just think about it.
Really, we can just shoot the shit over here.
Yeah, we don't even have to talk about your work. You can just be on an episode where we review you. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, if you want to dunk on someone else's book.
Yeah. Oh, what I would give. What I would give to hear her just trash someone else.
Wow. Yeah.
Man. Speaking of that, I feel very old. I have a little
Happy birthday!
Well, thank you.
Happy birthday!
I have a little bit...
Happy birthday. It was your birthday. It's not your birthday, but it was.
Now, future Cody, if you could just rip that for me and play it on a constant loop, I would appreciate it.
I'll put it on a boombox and just stand outside your house.
Yep. I need it to be, like, made wonderful style, where it's just got a lot of, like, weird sounds and mixes on it.
I'm on it.
Thank you. So I'm now a year older. I had my students ask me how old I was, and I wasn't sure. So I had to do the math, which was embarrassing. And then they told me, they were like, as soon as they asked, because they were very curious, then I tell them, and their face got all, like, sour lemony, and they were like, Miss Johnson, you're old. And I was like, well, all right. And then the same kid has the audacity, what? Why did my face just break?
A new year comes with just, like, an aristocracy about you.
Finally, I get to embrace my true royal nature. My family's colonialist past. So one of my kids had the audacity to say to their friend, like, okay, this weekend, here's our movie marathon. And they weren't talking to me, but they were, talking to my class. And they were like, first up.
This is what they get.
And it was just like, just the classic 80s movies is what this kid rattled off. And I was like, I wasn't even alive for most of these. Right. So she was like, all right, first of all, we're starting with 16 Candles. Then we're doing The Breakfast Club. Then we're doing Pretty in Pink. And then Who Knows? And I was like, what? What kind of event are you hosting?
These are some cool teens.
They were the coolest teens.
Hi guys, welcome to our Molly Ringwald fan club. We're 13 in 2019.
Yeah, and they have, like, their own fucking Discord about it.
Oh my god.
I don't know.
Beautiful.
I don't know, but I like to imagine.
But that's a great utopia. I'm into it.
I'm just really getting into some of the nuances of classic 80s films.
Right.
I would love that kind of a media analysis for my kids.
Yeah. Right.
Goddamn.
Wow.
One can hope.
Kids these days,
Kids, listen, same. Speaking of kids these days, we have quite a few current events to discuss today.
Have to do with kids these days. The current events, the kids these days.
They are. They are.
Great.
First off, Game of Thrones ended, so you have no excuse to keep the podcast queue going. You have to listen to us. You have nothing else to do now.
Yeah, come on.
Listen. So, we have a USA Today article that's talking about Emilia Clarke, which, thank you for this gift.
Yes.
And also connecting it to 50 Shades of Grey. So, apparently, she was like, 50 Shades of Grey? Nah, can't do it. I'm already too naked at my real job, Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Which I get.
Right.
Same. There was something that she's referring to specifically about Dany, where she's like, and it's annoying as hell, and I'm sick and tired of it because I did it for the character, referencing the nudity there. I didn't do it so some guy could check out my breasts, for God's sake.
Yeah,
and
fair.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
After the finale, I saw a lot of people talking about, like, the working conditions that she had on set. And it sounds like this is not, like, our lane, so I don't know who I am talking about this. But all I'm going to say is it sounded like Emilia Clarke went through some bullshit on the Game of Thrones set. She had, like, a brain thing. I don't know what it was called. Something science-y, probably.
Sure.
She, like, went through a brain surgery or something because she had, like, a hemorrhage. And then, like, on set, she had to, like, deal with these, like, really stressful working conditions,
Mhm.
where she would tell them, like, hey, remember when I had an aneurysm or whatever? I need to stop. And they were like, nah. So, I'm sorry, Emilia Clarke. I'm sorry that you have to deal with a fan base that's really shitty.
Yeah.
Come to our side, but not 50 Shades of Grey. Something else, preferably. Can you imagine if she just showed up on You?
Stop.
Can you imagine, though?
Stop it.
Had some wacky name, like, Strawberry Jam.
Yeah. We need to make, like, a You character name generator.
Oh my god.
I think that'd be
Hold
really
on.
funny.
Let me see if that's even a
I
thing.
don't think it's a thing.
But what I would give,
Yeah, that'd be
one of
really
those like
good.
things you see on Twitter where it's like based on the day,
Right.
the first letter of your
Yeah.
name and like the month you were born
Yeah.
on or something. All right. So thanks, Emilia Clarke, for not doing 50 Shades. It was probably for the best. So
Sure.
good on you for living your truth. Could you do me the honor and tell me about your dads, please?
Ugh, my dads. Welcome back to another Can Watch.
Thank you.
We missed this on the first time around, but Robert Pattinson's in a movie called The Lighthouse
Yes.
with my dad, Willem Dafoe. he's my dad.
That's fair.
And it's great. I'm very excited for them to just be like seafaring men with beards. And apparently it's fun and good if the trades are correct. But that seems great. And there was a cursed photo of them at Cannes with who else was there?
I feel like it was just them, but I may have just
It was a
blocked
photo of
someone out.
3, but I don't think I recognize the other guy. Yeah, I don't know who it was. It might be someone from the movie. But all of them are giving middle fingers.
And I love it.
And there's like a lot of moods and stuff going on here. Most notably Robert, in which he's doing like a crossed middle fingers. Like he's got the two and they're making like an X sort of. And he's making...
He looks like a junior in high school.
He looks like he's 12. And again, his hair is... There's something happening here. None of it is good. And his face, he looks just like he's very happy to be here, but also like he's a teen bully on the playground.
It looks like a family photo to me.
Sure. Yeah.
Of just like
sure.
dad and his weird son and that son's weird cousin
Yeah.
just fucking living on the town.
Sure.
But yeah, I've come onto recently realizing how much Willem Dafoe has infiltrated the things that I like.
Yeah.
Because I knew, and this is going to be embarrassing, but like the first thing that I knew him from was Finding Nemo.
Oh, shit. Well.
And then obviously like he's in The Fault in Our Stars. But then he was like in Aquaman and like Spider-Man and John Wick. Like people just get Willem Dafoe to be in stuff.
Willem Dafoe is in
which I
every
love.
movie, and he's great in all of them.
I agree.
Most notably playing, which Franco is it in Spider-Man?
All of them.
Whichever Franco is in Spider-Man.
Jeremy Franco.
Jeremy Franco's rich dad in Spider-Man. Like, it's perfect.
Tad Franco.
Dad, yes. He's the dad Franco. Yeah, he's great. He's so good. In every movie he's in, I'm like, ugh, Willem. My man.
Thank you so much for your work.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Truly. Like, God, he does so much.
I love this, especially because, and I think the thing that drew me to this title was it's an IndieWire piece that says Willem Dafoe thinks that Arpaz has the perfect chin to play Batman.
Yeah.
And honestly, you're not wrong. He has a very strong
He's
chin.
got a Batman jaw, you know?
He does. He does, for sure. And our next one here is an important update on theme park life. Specifically, Lionsgate theme park life.
It's just a treat.
Yes.
We've talked about this previously.
We have. But there are updates now.
Yes.
So, one thing is thank you to Parentology for this information, known as parenting in the digital age.
I love that. I love that exists.
Me too.
Yeah.
So, I love the idea of this Lionsgate theme park. It's going to be coming out this summer in China.
Oh, shit.
Which is like super soon.
Yeah, that's now.
It is basically now. And they're kind of funneling it with these, like, two main Lionsgate products of, like, the Hunger Games and the Twilight Saga.
Yeah.
And so the two that they build here as, like, two of their biggest rides is one about the Hunger Games.
Everyone's favorite relevant cultural touchstone.
Yes. Yeah.
Duh.
The thing we grew up with in high school and haven't thought about since.
And has just been in our cultural consciousness since then.
Right.
You know?
They describe this Hunger Games thing as a, quote, distinctive aesthetic sense.
Sure.
Where it's just a 3D ride.
Yeah.
In a hovercraft going through the Capitol. And that there's going to be, like, restaurants about it, too. But the reason why this caught my eye, and this photo is up on our Twitter already, is the Twilight ride that they have. It's called Midnight Ride.
Sure.
So if you want to just take a gander at what you think that's about. But it's a VR dirt bike adventure in the moonlit woods with Jacob and his boys.
Okay, here's a fucking question. Out of any of the superpowers or, like, characters or character types in the Twilight Saga,
sure,
I feel like the least interesting thing to simulate for an attraction is riding a dirt bike.
Yeah,
in
something
the
that
woods.
You can do in real life.
Something you can do in real life, and also something that doesn't really put you into the fantastical world that really an attraction and a ride might be able to suspend your disbelief on a little bit.
Right.
And again, like, there are wolves present, it's just you're not one of them. You're just riding with the wolves. It's like, if you're Jacob, just become the wolf. I don't understand. It's VR. Just make it work. Science. I don't know.
What I love about this is that they're referencing it to some sort of other attraction that they have, called the Escape Plan, which is apparently an escape room, because it's some sort of, like, breakout simulator.
I love that.
But the photo, I think, is something that's incredibly important to me.
It's beautiful.
It is. It's Lionsgate's group made this kind of rendering, and all I can see is this one dude with the VR goggles on
a little
just
bike.
really following his friends
Yeah.
through the woods at night.
It's so funny.
If you could have made a Twilight ride, what would you have made?
Thank you so much. I've been stirring on this for the last 2 minutes.
I was hoping that you were.
I mean, I think the obvious one, if we're doing, like, VR, like, riding sort of simulation sort of thing, in terms of, like, logistics of something easy to do, obviously you would just, like, ride on one of the vampire's backs like Bella does in the first Twilight movie.
Right.
Like, that
makes sense.
Easiest, like, that's the same mechanic we're working with here, but it's more believable, and you're not just riding a bike.
Can you imagine VR Edward turning around and being like, "You better hold tight, Spider Monkey," before you fucking just scale a tree?
And that, I feel like you could have fun with that too, because it's so fast.
It is.
I'm sure they'd have some, like, that 4D just wind shit or whatever.
Yeah, it's, like, dangerously fast.
Yeah.
Which I love.
And that'd be very fun and, like, easy, relatively the same mechanics to do here.
Yeah. Or, I mean, if you were gonna keep on this, like, car thing, because maybe they're horny for wheels.
Sure.
It's like, why aren't you in that Italian sports car with Alice driving through the Italian little hills and shit?
I thought you were gonna say Bella's truck. Could you imagine?
Yep, actually. That would be a far better ride. Fuck everything I just said. Just a little ride in Bella's truck.
Yeah, you sit in Bella's truck for 20 minutes and just listen to Muse. And that's it. That's the ride.
Just, like, parked in a school parking lot.
Not even driving. Oh my god. Or they could do, I mean, I guess that'd probably be a little bit traumatic if they did, like, where Bella almost fucking dies.
Oh my god.
In the parking lot.
Just Tyler leaning over like, dude, I'm so sorry. I'm just so high right now. That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Either of those would be great. Or maybe they're like really into the shaming experience, and the VR experience that you have is that you get to be Bella walking into biology for the first time, and Edward just like dying. Honestly, all of these are great.
Yeah, hire us.
Yeah. Why didn't they choose any of the action sequences? Like, you could have done the birthday party in New Moon. You could have done Victoria's fight on the mountain. Like, why did you do the one where it's, like,
Allie
not even
currently
relevant?
has a corkboard behind her. She's just pointing
I
it.
have so much red string. I am holding a presentation clicker and moving through a PowerPoint slide I didn't realize I had made. I just don't understand, like, why no one
such a
else
weird
that we
choice.
know of canonically in the Wolfpack had a motorcycle.
No.
So is it just Jacob on a motorcycle and every other person is a wolf just running? Because, like, he's faster as a wolf.
Yeah, it's like,
I
at
have
this
so many
point,
questions.
Once you become a wolf, really traveling by motorbike is inefficient.
I agree. I just have a lot of questions, and no one is answering them for me, which is a little bit frustrating,
Yeah,
I'll say.
Sure.
So, the last thing, and I think it's been a while since we've done a Screen Rant Corner,
Pew, 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 pew.
but we have one here, mainly because Nathaniel Vanderport from Screen Rant caught my eye with this title. I'll say that.
Yeah.
In true Screen Rant fashion, it's also a listicle, but in this time they're ranking every death from the Twilight Saga. Just buckle up, folks.
Strap in.
Yeah. I was hoping that they would have put some of the, like, random people in here.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why I'm forgetting his name right now, but the first guy in Twilight who's, like, on his boat. Oh, they do. Just kidding. He's, like, way up there. Because I was going to say, it's like, that's a pretty random one. Or the one in Eclipse that Riley Beers kills on the pier. Like, where's that guy? Where's that justice? I mainly want to focus in on, like, 5 up.
Yeah.
Mainly because the first one is number 5 is that it's just all the monsters that Edward kills.
Yeah. I think
It's just really vague.
this, like, more than any other Screen Rant Corner we've had before, like, this writer really had a lot of fun with this one.
I agree.
Especially number 5, because they call, like, Edward's flashback where he looks like Lin-Manuel Miranda and Mary Poppins.
It was so rude.
It's not incorrect.
It's not incorrect. It's just also very harsh.
Yeah.
They also chose a very important photo of James for number 4.
Yeah.
Fucking Nathaniel's like,
Yeah.
who can ever forget James, the shoeless vampire?
As he just knocks onto an arm.
Yeah, he's just really living.
Yeah.
Uh,
And he clowns
God.
on the actress change for Victoria between Newman and Eclipse. Like, it's so
Listen.
weird that she switches her face in between.
I love Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah.
And this is just like a sidebar. I last weekend went to go see an early screening of Rocket Man. And it's great, by the way. I cried the whole time.
Great.
It's what I wanted from fucking... I almost said Boyce Avenue when I was supposed to say Bohemian Rhapsody. Where is my brain? I was
Great.
like, oh yeah, that movie, Boyce Avenue. So it's everything that I wanted from Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
But in a movie now. And the guy that plays fucking, Elton John? So good.
What's his face? Who?
What's his fuck?
Ooh, what's this movie even about?
The reason why I'm on this tangent is that Bryce Dallas Howard is in Rocket Man as Elton John's mom, and she is so good. She's bringing a lot of Victoria energy to the space.
Wow.
So I love that. I love that a
for
lot.
her.
Number 2 is Bella.
Pew, 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 pew.
And I love this. Nathaniel's got some really good commentary has anyone ever stopped to think about how wild the Twilight series can be? And here's what I'll say, Nathaniel, we do every week.
Yeah.
After Bella turns into a vampire, she attacks a mountain lion and a rock climber in the exact same scene. Which, here's what I'll say. Last night I watched Free Solo for the first time.
Uh-huh.
Which, what the fuck, first of all. That could be its own bonus, Jonas. But the fucking dude, Alex, who, like, wants to scale this mountain, he climbs it in the exact same way that Bella does. So,
Damn.
all I'm saying is I think they caught a vampire on camera.
Hey,
So-
you know, it happens.
Yeah. What is number 1 from this space?
It's everyone.
And
Do you
here's the
get
thing,
it?
Nathaniel. That's a fucking cheap shot.
Yeah.
Is what I'll say. It's kind of a cowardly move.
Like, you get it? Because, like, everyone died. But then they didn't die.
But they didn't.
Because it was a trick. It was a joke. It was a goof.
It was. It was just all this elaborate plan. Alice is extra as always.
Yeah.
Speaking of extra, should we get into these chapters?
I suppose we should.
I suppose. So, in a shocking turn of events, you is still awful.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed.
It outdoes
In fact,
itself
it's-
every week, though.
Every week, I think, how can it possibly get worse? And then it does.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting experience for us to kind of live through.
I love that for us.
Chapter 7 is what I would call the bookstore dungeon chapter.
Yeah. The bookstore lore.
Yes, which I feel like we did not get enough of in the
Mhm.
TV show for it to resonate, I would say.
Right. Yeah.
So I did feel like there was some new stuff here that made it kind of filled in some of his backstory, I would say.
Yeah, because in the show we got a little bit of, like, how Mr. Mooney was, like, kind of a demented father figure for Joe and all that stuff, and how it, like, sort of informed who he is and all that stuff, but we got, like, a very small glimpse of it.
Mhm.
But in the book it really expanded on, like, their relationship, and also just, like, the laws of the bookstore in general.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the things that interested me most about this is we just get more of Mr. Mooney.
Yeah.
And I feel like because the fact that, as Joe mentions here, like, his mom left when he was very young, and then, we find out something very fucked up about Mr. Mooney, but apparently Joe was, like, not with his family anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and for all intents and purposes, Mr. Mooney is his dad.
Yeah.
And what I imagine is very much like a, oh my god, I'm blanking on all the names today. In Brooklyn Nine-Nine, when fucking Jake, it just calls Captain Holt dad all the time.
Yeah.
That's what I imagine. And so, a couple of things that I found buck wild about this. One, Mr. Mooney hates going to the bathroom. He thinks it's purposeless, and he would rather not. Which is a lot to
probably
handle.
not good for your
Probably
body.
not a healthy choice.
No, not good for your bowels. Not recommended.
Yeah. One of the other things is the people that brought this, like, disassembled cage to the bookstore assumed that underneath the bookstore is where Mr. Mooney was going to keep birds. Which was a weird thing. He was like, you keep an African Greys? I friggin' love those birds. They talk. So cool. I was like, I need to know more about this guy.
Yeah, like, what's he up to? What's his story?
Tell me more about this sweaty driver character that you have here.
Yeah. What a delight. You don't get a lot of those in this book.
For real. Mr. Mooney's like, that's ridiculous. Why would I ever? We're in a bookstore, sir. And then the guy's just like, yeah, you could get a shit ton of birds in here, though. And I'm just like, what?
Have you thought about how many birds you can put in here, though?
It's awful.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Mooney, not so subtly, talks about this metaphor of a flying cage. He's like, I would never put birds in here because the only thing cooler than a cage so small that a bird can't fly is a cage so large that the bird thinks it can fly. Ugh. Bye.
Now that I have, like, the popular highlights, I can see how many people like these things, and it makes me mad.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah, 300 people.
Too
it's
many.
awful.
Too many.
For just, like, nothing.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
What is that
you just
saying?
said.
Yeah, like, nothing.
Yeah. One of the things that I found interesting over this chapter and chapter 8 is there's a lot of intentional repetition that's being used.
Yeah.
That is very reflective, I think, of Joe's psyche.
Right.
So, to me, like, in this first chapter of chapter 7, when it's the repetition of Gently Joseph, it was just like, this tells me a lot about his relationship to his pseudo-dad.
Yeah.
And also how, like, he also probably needed that reminder of having to treat things with intention, which tells us a lot about the personality and kind of confirms what we already knew about his personality there.
Right. I also think it's interesting when he's talking about how he's like, oh, I can't wait to like bring you here back because like you'll see how cool I am, and then I can like I have the key to the bookseller, and I have all these old books, and I know where the air conditioning is, and then I can cook up these books and totally just fry them up and fuck them up. And then he like says it in a way that's like, oh, well, if there's anyone that will like appreciate this power that I have, it's you. You little MFA student, wannabe writer, whatever. You'll just like drop your panties and fuck me in this bookseller with all these old books.
The thing that I hated most about that, and it's everything from this chapter, but
yeah.
The thing I hated most is that he calls himself the Keymaster. And here's what I'll say. I remember watching Aquaman and the whole talk about the Ocean Master.
Uh-huh.
We don't need any more masters.
Yeah.
Ever.
It's over.
We don't need them. They're
have
done.
Plenty.
Oh my god. Yeah. It's just everyone. Stop it. So here's the other thing that makes me kind of sad, is we find out that there is another person that works at Moody's bookstore.
Uh-huh.
And it's not Ethan.
Yeah. His name is
And I hate that.
Curtis.
Yeah, just fucking Curtis, this high school kid.
This fucking schmuck.
Is trying to get money just so that it can pay for his weed. Like,
Yeah.
just doing the damn thing. And I guess I'm glad that they made this artistic choice in the TV show. But is the Blythe character gonna be with Curtis? Like, I have questions
I
now.
have so many questions.
I agree.
You took away one of the good things of this and threw it away.
And I am sad
Yeah,
about
I'm sad. I'm emo.
Yes. So we have to talk about the fact that Mooney, one of the times, I assume, that he locked Joe in this cage.
Yup.
For
For days.
literal days.
Literal days.
To teach him a, quote, lesson, which we don't really find out what it is.
Right.
He
He was like, oh, I'm gonna read this first edition Franny and Zoe J.D. Salinger situation.
Also, hey.
Right. And it's signed, and he's just like rubbing the signature on this very expensive, very old book. And it gets stolen, because he brings it to the front counter with him, first of all, sir.
God damn it,
If
Joe.
you have a fucking old-ass book, and you're gonna steal it, read it in the little, like, lending library situation you got in there. Don't bring it outside.
Do better at crime,
Where
Joseph.
thieves are. Yeah, like...
Why are you so bad at crime?
God. Come on.
So he gets put in the cage.
Yeah.
Because, sure.
Because that's cool.
Yeah. And for several days and nights, to the point that the author makes a point here that he was released on the 14th of September in 2001.
This whole plot line is bananas to me.
I agree.
Why the fuck is 9/11 even involved in the situation?
I feel like this happened last time.
Was
it? It did. It was in something that we read. Maybe I honestly can't remember
was it
at
50
this point.
Shades? Like one of the flashbacks or something?
Maybe I'm just forgetting, and I'm making up nothing.
Allie, always inserting 9/11 into past memories.
Oh, okay, no. So it wasn't anything that we read. So my favorite book of all time, one of them, is A Time Traveler's Wife.
Oh,
and the author does this too.
Yep. That's a huge thing.
That's what I was thinking of. Of just like, let's just talk about it, but not like address it or do anything with it. I'm just going to say it for the shock value.
It's just like, yeah, it's saying it and not having any context with it, and also making very strange parallels about it that don't make any sense. Where it's like, he's like 16 when this is happening or something like that. So he's just like, yeah, I was in this cage. Also, 9/11 happened, and I don't really know how to process that, and he doesn't. But then he's like, because he's trying to find this person who stole this book and get revenge or whatever, or get the book back at least. And he's just like, yeah, I wasn't alone searching, though, because people were searching for their families, and I was searching for this book thief. And it's like, what the fuck? And then he
It was
thinks, like,
so wild.
And then he's like, oh, well, sometimes I think that she died in the towers, and then I think it's okay. And I'm like, what is happening right now?
Don't say stuff like that. Please, Joseph.
What
The other thing that I thought was super fucked up, and is very indicative, I think, of Mooney's behavior, is that he intentionally kept Joseph there during that time.
Yeah.
Knowing, and he, like, tells him when Joseph gets out, is like, your dad didn't call.
Right.
He just thinks you're dead.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
Literally what is happening.
The other thing is we get a little bit more backstory about Joseph and his family.
Uh-huh.
So his mom dipped out when he was in second grade, not when she was in second grade. That'd be wild. And the other thing is that he says here, lots of people have shitty parents and roaches in the cabinets and stale raw Pop-Tarts for dinner and a TV that barely works and a dad who doesn't care when his son doesn't come home during a national disaster. Great, fine.
Uh-huh.
What are raw Pop-Tarts?
Untoasted Pop-Tarts. Those are raw Pop-Tarts.
Did you toast your Pop-Tarts?
Not every flavor, but some, are better toasted. Yeah, for sure.
Which flavors?
The brown sugar cinnamon one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, see, and I was just a frosted strawberry kid.
Yeah, if you're toasting a fruit one, you should be arrested.
That's a crime.
That is a federal offense. But the like ones that are like, more sweet but like not in a fruit way, like those are like heatable.
Yeah, I bet one of the like brownie or chocolate chip ones would fuck in a toaster.
The more like desserty kind of ones, those are toasty. If you're putting fucking strawberries in the toaster, I will call the police.
Well, and also, like, what would even happen to the frosting, Right,
yeah.
I have questions.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is all, like, just an experience that Joe is reliving. But he is at the bookstore in the fiction stacks when he's still looking at Beck's phone.
Yep.
That apparently she never locked, ? Great, super safe. And he's, being a super creep of, like, looking into all of her passwords, her emails, her, like, just everything. Because he has no impulse control.
Nope.
And then they spend, like, 2 pages talking about how Beck doesn't get a new phone because she doesn't want to talk to her mom. And just, like, get shit on for losing a phone, which is something.
Her friends just pile on her.
Yeah, they're like, I don't understand. That's so much money. Why are you paying for 2 things? And she's like, haha, my mom's paying for my first phone, so whatever. It's gross.
Yep.
We also find out that Beck is the kind of person that apparently just emails instead of texts, which, okay.
I'm reporting you.
You are an alien who does that.
NASA's on their way.
For real. I found it just weird that he's going into all this stuff. And then Beck shows up.
As you do.
As you do, right? And he's attempting to act cool, which is embarrassing.
Yeah.
And so when he's talking to her, he, like, goes back to the front, checkout space, and he just, like, fucking puts his feet up and puts his hands behind his bed so he can show her just the teeniest bit of his happy trail.
Great.
And because apparently Beck has a gift for him. While also he has intentionally chosen this cologne that apparently the Beck and her friends like it's all very fabricated and creepy.
Right. It's gross.
It is. And the gift that she decides to give him for saving her life is the Da Vinci Code, but in Italian.
Obviously.
Where's
the precedent for this? Did they talk about the Da Vinci Code?
They talked about Dan Brown when they met. But not the Da Vinci Code.
And Joe doesn't know Italian. They don't know Italian.
I mean, no. And she's like, well, it's not all in Italian. And he says, I flip through and you're wrong. And you grab the book and drop it off the counter.
It's like, actually. And she's like, no, I wrote something on the first page. That's in English. Can you just, God damn it.
Can you stop being so ungrateful, Joseph? Yeah, I found it weird. And also that he's like, so we should, like, chat or whatever. And she just grabs a bookmark that apparently you have to pay for and just scribbles all over it with her email address and stuff. And he's like, actually, usually you have to pay for that. So, because he's a piece of shit. Anyways, he also says that she apparently has more of a daddy complex because she apparently wants to leave but is waiting to be excused, which, gross thing that you just said, Joseph.
Great.
And so when she leaves, he also says one of the grossest things. And he's like, you gave me your email address and now I have to choose which draft to send to you. I knew you'd come in and I knew you'd give me your email, so last night I wrote different versions of my first email to you.
Great.
And, like, listen, I get that if someone texts you that you're like, oh, they're cute, you might, like, rewrite your response.
Yeah.
But to pre-write them
yeah, that's crazy.
is terrifying to me.
I hate it.
And also just shows, like, he is not good at social interactions. No. So, we've got chapter 8 here. And it just starts with this love letter to Prince.
Which, like, hey.
I get it.
Great.
I also don't want him to like Prince, but, like, I get it.
And he's also doing it in a way that's like, oh, Prince is the greatest poet of our time. Notice how I said poet and not songwriter? Because obviously Joe just doesn't think of songwriting as its own art form or anything.
Sure.
Because it's music. But
Right,
poetry...
And, yep. Yeah. No, I agree. Just Joseph shaking his hands, being like, it's poetry, don't you understand?
Old man yells at cloud.
Exactly. Anyway, so he keeps repeating throughout all of this the Prince line that he kind of makes his own, which is, it's been 7 hours and 15 days since you took your love away. And so Joseph goes on this, like, fangirl moment of being like, don't you get it? It's poetic because he swapped the days and the hours. Poets are different. And so he does that throughout all of this, and it's gross.
Great.
And thank you for this gift, author of this book that I don't remember. Anyways, so he goes in and he talks about how, like, it takes her forever to finally email him. Or I guess, like, right back to him, I guess, because he sent her that first thing. And so finally she's like, so happy hour on Thursday. And then he does that thing of, like, well, it took her that long, so I'm going to also wait to respond. Because that's healthy.
Yeah, of course.
And, of course, he's, like, watching how she talks with her friends and finding out that she has flirted with several people because that's a crime. And also that she still wants Benji, which apparently is also a crime in his eyes. Because what happens is they, like, plan to go... Or, like, no, she cancels the first one. And then all of a sudden she responds and is like, hey, so I'm at Greenpoint. You want to hang out?
Yeah.
But then, of course, Benji responds. And so she cancels the plans. And he's like, oh, yeah, totally fine. But also very not fine.
Well, and here's the thing. This is like Beck is bad, right? But this is the most objectively, like, shitty I feel like she's been. Because, like, she starts being like, hey, are you, like, bartending today? And Joe has to pretend he still is a bartender.
A bartender?
He's like, no, but I can hang out. And he's like, cool, like, whatever, here's a time. And they figure something out. And then she's like, oh, Benji. Oh, Benji.
Well, yeah, because apparently it took 2 weeks for Benji to respond.
Right.
To the fact that she got a new number.
Yeah.
And now that he's responded, like, the toxic relationship that it is, she is like, oh, yeah, of course, let's hang out.
And then she's like, oh my god, a school thing. I can't. I'm sorry.
School's just, like, so hard.
It's so hard. Don't go to grad school. And then Joe's like, cool, I'm on the train already, but...
But fuck me, I guess.
Damn, alright.
I also love that the author kept the smiling emoticons in here in this whole chapter.
Yeah.
It's just like really authentic.
Right.
It just really adds to the experience.
It's like I'm there, you know.
It's like it's my phone.
Right.
So then we find out, and this also happened in the TV show too, where Benji, of course, is like the club soda dude, and he's awful.
Yeah.
But Joe decides to be more awful and pretending that he is a guy who fucking loves club soda.
Hell yeah. And his
being
boldest
a food
move
critic.
yet.
Yeah, he gets to pretend that he's a food critic. And he fucking emails Benji, being like, let's go to this underground cafe that's in the place that I work. So let me just put that in text there. And let's just fucking do the damn thing. So of course, Benji's like, sir, yes.
Of course.
Of course.
Here's my
of course.
finest sodas.
And he just hands him a little croy.
Yeah. Just chucks it at his head.
Yeah. So after getting that response from Benji, Joe, hey, it's okay. I'm upset about Joe too. You don't have to hiss. I just literally switched over to a different page and my cat was looking at the screen and just hissed at it. Like she knows. She understands.
That's good, yes.
She gets
Train
it.
her.
Yes, I have trained her well. It's so funny. So he, of course, is like, well, I'm not a multitasking businessman at heart, but I will practice. So I know how many stops away I am from my house and how many flights of stairs I am from picking up the things that I'm going to use to kill Benji. And and then he fucking texts the high schooler and is like, hey, man, it's all good. You don't have to come in today.
I got it.
I got it. I got you. And that's where the fucking chapter ends.
Right. I'm glad we're at least fucking moving somewhere. You know, we're getting there.
I agree. So next week we have chapters 9 and 10.
Ow.
We are moving slowly,
Yes.
but surely.
But we're coming.
But we are getting there.
Yeah.
We have so many people to thank. Would you like to do a thing this time? Should we do a thing?
Okay. Well,
what haven't we done in a while? Let's look at some Screen Rant listicles.
Sure.
Let's see what flavor they've got going on there.
What are they offering today?
I agree. All right, why don't you start?
Sure. Shout out to Sophia Salinger.
Wow, 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 wow.
Who's gonna be Family Guy. 10 of Chris Griffin's most hilarious quotes.
Hell yeah. All right. Thank you to Aaron Salinger.
Ow.
Who is obviously the most important out of all of these.
Yes.
Which is Gentleman Jack renewed for season 2.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Alex Blythe. Who's gonna be Grace and Frankie. 5 times Frankie was a good friend, and 5 times she wasn't.
Wow. Wow. All right. Shout out to Marie Mooney.
Ow.
Who is going to be
Ow.
Seinfeld star advises Game of Thrones on dealing with finale criticism.
Oh my god.
Because sure.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Shout out to Taylor Brown Town Lautner.
Braver than the Marines.
Yes. Just fucking pour one out. 10 incredible forgotten Disney shows. And I just want to say the 3 that are in the photo here that I can just tell because they're a popular Disney show, so not at all forgotten. Lizzie McGuire.
Oh my god.
That's a Raven, and whatever Demi Lovato was in, I forget.
Oh my god.
What?
That's so rude.
What?
But obviously, Cody, it was Sunny with a Chance. So
that's
I don't
right.
know.
That's true. So maybe that is a forgotten one.
That one I feel like is the only one that was forgotten out of all of those.
Yeah. That was a show, though. That existed.
It was something,
Yeah.
that's for sure. I have Katie Weber. And Katie, I've got something really important for you, so please buckle up.
Oh, yeah.
This one is going to be Rocket Man. Richard Madden says cutting the sex scene would have been a disservice.
Whoa.
Wow. Spoiler alert. Also, I did see that movie with a whole bunch of old white people who apparently liked Elton John but didn't want to deal with the fact that he was gay. And so it was very fun to watch that sex scene in that group of people.
I love that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Simon motherfucking Steele.
Yoked as a bloke.
So yoked. You can't even
Thank you, Simon.
believe.
Nope, you can't. He's going to remind you, but you won't believe.
Who's gonna be Mean Girls characters sorted into their Hogwarts houses.
All right. You have my attention.
Yeah.
I am here for this information.
Yeah.
So, I have a very important gift for our fanfiction this week, brought to you by Taylor Browntown Launer.
Yeah.
This gift was published on January 10th of 2018. I honestly can't tell you where I was at that time.
Sure.
It's written by the author Hormonal Harry.
Great.
And this is a Twilight and Jaws crossover.
Yeah.
It's titled No Boners, No Sex. And the description goes as follows. A crossover between Twilight and Jaws. If you're Team Edward, you won't like this story.
Whoa.
If you're Team Jacob, you won't like this story.
Oh, fuck. Oh, shit.
Okay. So this is all like a one-shot. I'm just going to read you part of it here.
Great.
And I would just recommend for you, and also for the listeners, more than usual, I would recommend just reading this one on your own. There's a lot of context that I'm not going to be able to fill here. All right. Geez, she thought to herself, I've been sitting here for hours. Bella? He asked. Yes, Eddie? He snarled. You know I hate that. My name is Jaws. She laughed, and he could never stay mad at her for long. He began to laugh as well, and soon they walked side by side back to Bella's shelter. She stood there for a moment, thinking, and turned towards him. Jaws? Any other name? He sighed. My parents called me James, but most people know me as Jaws. She smiled. James, then. Would you like to spend the night with me? He looked up into her eyes, hope in his face. She had never seen someone so beautiful, even Edward. The grace with which he moved through the water and the way light reflected off his toned skin in either form made him the most beautiful man she knew. She held up a finger against his lips. No boners, no sex, just sleeping. He nodded and followed her inside. And see.
Well.
She's fucking a shark. Who does that?
Why not? Life is short.
Okay, alright, first of all, you tell me that Nosferatu Can Get It is disrespectful and illegal content for this podcast, but then you say you want to fuck a shark?
Okay, I didn't say I want to fuck a shark. I'm just saying I'm not ruling it out. But I would rule out Nosferatu immediately.
This is a crime!
I know.
I can't relate. I don't want that many teeth going near my bits.
Listen, maybe I watched
And
teeth
that's all
too
I have
much
to say.
growing up and I'm desensitized to it.
Maybe. Fuck. Well, as we say in Seattle.
Get bit!
Get bit as well, I think. Those sharks just want to bite.
You got all those chompers.
Okay, bye.
Ah!
This is an Earbud Media production. You can find us on Twitter at Earbud Media and listen to the rest of our shows. You can find this show on Twitter at Into the Twilight, as well as IntoTheTwilight.show. You can send us an email at IntoTheTwilightShow@gmail.com. You can also become a sponsor of the show or buy some merch at IntoTheTwilight.BigCartel.com. Our art is done by Maddie Padilla, who you can find at YourGhostHost44 on Instagram, and our music is done by Eli Krause. You can find at Eli Sauerkraus and KrauseFilms.com. The intro and outro is by KB Smith. You can find at KB__Smith on Twitter. You can find Allie on Twitter at Into Wild Places, and you can find me at Dyke Discourse.
You've been listening to Earbud Media Production. Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.